In the immediate wake of a crisis, the human mind instinctively searches for a cause. When something shatters, we demand to know why. We aren't just looking for a technical explanation, we're looking for a target. If there is suffering, our logic dictates there must be a culprit. This reflex is on full display in the Gospel of John, when Jesus and his disciples encounter a man who has been blind since birth. Before they even acknowledge the man as a person, the disciples ask, "Who sinned, this man or his parents?" They look at a tragedy and see a curse. To them, the man isn't a person to be helped, but a puzzle of guilt to be solved. This chart shows how the brain bypasses the search for a solution when it's focused on fault. We ask questions about a tragedy not to uncover the truth, but to confirm we are better off. Constant comparison turns this into a recursive loop, using others' misfortunes to validate our standing, leaving us stuck in judgment. When your focus is entirely on identifying who is wrong, you create a vacuum where no one is actually providing help. This obsession with blame acts as a barrier. It keeps the observer in the seat of a judge and the sufferer in the role of a victim, with no path forward for either. Jesus breaks this cycle with a single word: neither. He refuses to engage with the logic of condemnation. He redefines the situation entirely. The blindness isn't a punishment for a specific sin, but a blank canvas where the power of God can be displayed. He takes a similar approach with the woman caught in adultery in John 8. He acknowledges the reality of the situation, but he refuses the crowd's demand for a stone. The response is consistent. He declines the worldly game of debate and criticism, choosing instead to focus on the work that needs to be done. Many believers today fall back into the same habits as the disciples. They get lost in political debates and public criticisms, contaminating their own perspective with the world's need to judge. As this loop shows, modern spirituality often degrades into a routine. You commit an offense, offer a verbal apology, and then return to the same behavior. You are moving, but you aren't changing. In John 9, Jesus makes mud and then tells the man to wash. The water represents more than just a physical cleaning. It is leaving the world's contamination behind before returning to the community. To wash means to physically step away from the filth of the past. It is the difference between simply saying you are sorry and actually becoming someone who no longer carries the dirt of judgment. Adopting this mindset means you must stop asking, "Why did this happen?" or "Who is to blame for this mess?" The only question that leads to action is, "What does God want to accomplish through me in this moment?" People in pain are usually well aware of their own brokenness. They don't need a spectator to explain the history of their failure. When you refuse to be a judge, you finally become a response. You move from the crowd of accusers to the work of restoration. The left side of this chart shows a common pattern, a relationship dependent on pain. It activates when tragedy strikes, then goes dormant. The right side shows a relationship sustained by love. It doesn't need a disaster, remaining constant whether things go well or poorly. You were not meant to only seek your creator when life hurts, nor were you meant to spend your life searching for human scapegoats for suffering. Step out of the cycle of blame. Stop waiting for a tragedy to draw you close, and start living a life that has been washed clean of the need to judge.